In the dawn of the Armenian Highlands, a kingdom would rise among the rugged peaks, a power known as Urartu. Its people lived in harmony with the waters of Lake Van, drawing sustenance and strength from its abundance. From these heights, the first Urartian king would lay the foundations of a mighty realm, watched over by the gods of the mountains. The life of ordinary Urartians was humble yet resilient, their labor shaping the land and their destiny alike. Faith guided the Urartians, their devotion etched into stone and ritual upon the mountaintops. Even in the quiet, vigilance was constant, for these lands would one day host both builders and warriors. The towering peaks watched silently over a land poised to give birth to one of history's forgotten kingdoms. Amid these highlands, the story of Urartu begins, a tale of ambition, faith, and the enduring spirit of its people. The Armenian Highlands stretch across rugged mountains, fertile valleys, and the sparkling waters of Lake Van, forming the cradle of Urartu. Rivers carved through stone and soil, bringing life to the land and channels for early settlers to farm and thrive. The fertile plains allowed Urartians to cultivate barley, wheat, and other crops, supporting a growing population. Mountain passes offered both protection and strategic vantage points for the emerging kingdom. Early settlements were nestled among hills, blending with the landscape and using natural features for defense. The people relied on rivers and lakes not only for food, but for trade and travel across the highlands. Mount Ararat loomed over the region, a silent witness to the birth of Urartu and its connection to the heavens. Herding livestock was essential, providing food, trade goods, and materials for clothing and tools. Forests offered timber, game, and materials for building and crafting, integral to Urartian survival. The Urartian language related to Hurrian allowed the recording of laws, trade, and history on clay tablets. Trade routes linked Urartu with neighboring civilizations such as Assyria, Phrygia, and Uruk, spreading culture and wealth. High vantage points allowed early warning and defense against invaders, a key advantage in the rugged terrain. The land yielded rich harvests, sustaining villages and feeding the armies that would protect Urartu. Timber from the forests provided materials for homes, fortifications, and tools throughout the kingdom. The natural beauty of Urartu's geography shaped not only its settlements, but its culture and identity. Amid these mountains and waterways, the foundations of Urartu were laid, connecting people, land, and destiny. Around 860 BCE, Urartu first emerges in Assyrian records, its leaders forging a kingdom in the highlands. The people of Urartu cultivated the land while watching the rise of fortified settlements around them. Under Arame and his successors, fortresses and walls began to take shape, demonstrating their engineering skill. Sarduri I established Tushpa as the royal capital, consolidating power in the Armenian Highlands. The military was disciplined, defending the kingdom with archers and chariots prepared for battle. Advanced irrigation systems and canals were designed, showcasing the administrative and technical prowess of Urartu. Menua continued these projects, expanding the kingdom's infrastructure to support agriculture and settlements. Archers trained rigorously, forming a core of Urartu's formidable defensive forces. Menua strengthened the capital, building towers and fortifications to secure the kingdom's borders. Vigilant scouts monitored the terrain, providing early warnings against potential invasions. Chariots became symbols of Urartu's military strength, ready to strike where needed. Commanders coordinated soldiers across walls and towers, ensuring readiness for any conflict. The kingdom's engineers mastered water management, building canals and aqueducts to sustain growing cities. Fortresses overlooked valleys and rivers, asserting control over the land and deterring intruders. Menua's reign saw remarkable development, combining military power with administrative innovation. Lookouts and archers maintained vigilance, ensuring the kingdom's borders remained secure. Canals carried life-giving water, reflecting Urartu's ingenuity and foresight in managing the land. Messengers and scouts connected distant fortresses, enabling swift communication across the kingdom. Life continued in the capital, blending daily routines with the vigilance required by a rising kingdom. By the end of this era, Urartu had grown into a formidable state, its foundations of power firmly laid. At the top of society sat the king, embodying authority and divine favor in every gesture. Nobles governed estates and advised the king their wealth, reflecting both service and lineage. At the base of society, farmers and laborers toiled to provide food and resources for the kingdom. Religion guided every aspect of life, with priests mediating between gods and people atop sacred altars. Commoners participated in rituals honoring deities like Haldi Taisheba and Shivini with devotion. Artisans produced exquisite metalwork, from tools to ceremonial objects, reflecting skill and artistry. Stone carvings immortalized gods, kings, and battles, preserving stories for generations. Pottery provided both practical vessels and canvases for artistic expression across Urartu. The Urartian script recorded military victories, temple constructions, and royal decrees in cuneiform. Inscriptions on fortress walls told of kings' achievements and divine favor, inspiring those who defended the realm. Ceremonies combined music, dance, and offerings, reinforcing the spiritual life of the kingdom. Metalworkers created ceremonial items, weapons, and jewelry, blending function and art. Laborers provided the raw materials, transforming stone into sacred and civic structures. Scribes documented everything from construction projects to religious ceremonies, preserving knowledge for posterity. Reliefs and carvings conveyed stories of divine protection and royal authority, educating all who visited. The kingdom's artistic achievements reflected the skill, patience, and creativity of its people. Culture permeated daily life, blending work, worship, and communal activities seamlessly. Even as the day ended, spiritual practices reinforced the unity of king priesthood and people. Every object crafted carried meaning, linking practical life with religious and cultural expression. Thus, society and culture thrived in Urartu, with structured hierarchy, devotion, and artistry shaping the kingdom. Urartian agriculture thrived, thanks to canals and irrigation systems sustaining a growing population. The Menua Canal carried water across the highlands, a marvel of Urartian engineering. Workers labored tirelessly, shaping channels that would feed fields and villages alike. Trade flourished, with neighboring lands connecting Urartu to Assyria, Phrygia, and Mesopotamia. Markets teemed with commerce, where artisans and farmers exchanged products essential to daily life. Blacksmiths forged armor and weapons, ensuring Urartu's warriors were well equipped for battle. Military equipment combined craftsmanship with functionality, critical for defending the kingdom. Nobles oversaw agricultural output, coordinating labor and water management. Pottery and crafts provided both daily utility and items for trade across regions. Menua's vision connected engineering, agriculture, and defense, securing prosperity for Urartu. Infrastructure projects allowed movement of goods and people, linking settlements efficiently. Trade networks brought wealth and cultural exchange, enriching Urartu's economy. Canals distributed water to fields far from rivers, sustaining crops through dry seasons. Metalworking extended beyond weaponry to jewelry and ceremonial objects, blending function with art. Storage and distribution systems allowed goods to be preserved and transported efficiently. Engineering mastery ensured both agriculture and defense were maintained in harmony. Craftsmanship underpinned daily life and trade, reflecting skill and dedication of Urartu's people. Overseeing fields, canals, and roads, scouts maintained security and order across the kingdom. Waterways connected Urartu to distant lands, enabling trade with neighbors and far-off cities. Through irrigation, engineering, and commerce, Urartu built an economy capable of sustaining a powerful and enduring state. As Urartu grew, its leaders faced the looming threat of Assyrian expansion along the borders. Scouts maintained vigilance, tracking enemy movements across rugged highlands. The army trained tirelessly, ready to defend fortresses and repel invaders from Assyria. High vantage points gave archers an advantage, turning terrain into a defensive ally. Fortresses on mountaintops served as both defensive strongholds and command centers. Assyrian forces attempted raids on border settlements, testing the kingdom's defenses. Mobile units patrolled rivers and passes, intercepting enemy scouts and raiding parties. Sarduri II coordinated alliances with neighboring tribes to bolster Urartu's defenses. Archers exploited cliffs and narrow passes to control strategic positions against invaders. Discipline and training were key to maintaining Urartu's military strength. Assyria's disciplined forces threatened Urartu's borders, demanding constant readiness. Menua personally directed the kingdom's defense, combining strategy with local knowledge. Information traveled swiftly across the highlands, enabling timely responses to threats. Urartu's armies engaged Assyrians in skirmishes and battles, defending their lands with valor. Victories were commemorated on stone, ensuring the deeds of kings and soldiers endured. Mobile units exploited terrain, striking quickly to repel enemy advances. Skirmishes tested Urartu's fortifications and the coordination of its allied tribes. Communication between fortresses and troops ensured rapid deployment during conflicts. Stone inscriptions immortalized the kingdom's triumphs, recording history for future generations. As day turned to night, defenders remained alert, guarding against any lingering threats. Across the highlands, Urartu's network of fortresses and troops maintained order and security. Through strategy alliances and terrain mastery, Urartu defended its lands and left a legacy of resilience. Internal struggles and rivalries weakened the foundations of Urartu from within. Factional disputes among the nobility fractured unity and undermined royal authority. Even the garrisons felt the strain of divided leadership, vigilance waning across the kingdom. Without cohesive governance, villages faced uncertainty and fear of external attacks. The Medes and Scythians pressed into Urartu's territory as Assyria's influence waned. Defenders struggled to repel invaders, stretched thin by internal discord and external pressure. Even essential infrastructure suffered as governance weakened and resources dwindled. Soldiers braced for attacks they could scarcely repel alone, facing enemies on multiple fronts. Kings and generals struggled to coordinate defense, their power eroding with each passing day. Invaders exploited Urartu's weakened state, capturing outposts and raiding fertile valleys. Civilians fled, abandoning villages as chaos spread across the highlands. Remaining defenders fought valiantly, yet the kingdom's cohesion was failing. By 590 BCE, Urartu's territorial control had collapsed under combined internal and external pressures. Inscriptions that once celebrated victories now stood as silent witnesses to decline. People scattered seeking safety as the kingdom's infrastructure and order crumbled. From the heights of the highlands, the once mighty Urartu faded, leaving only stones, canals, and memories behind. Van Fortress stands as a testament to Urartu's architectural skill, still imposing centuries after its construction. Inscriptions at Toprakale reveal kings' victories and the engineering feats that defined the kingdom. Modern excavations uncover the remnants of fortresses, canals, and artifacts, bringing history to light. Urartu's metalwork demonstrates the artistry and skill that shaped both daily life and ceremonial practices. The canals and dams engineered by Urartians still guide water, echoing the ingenuity of their builders. The Armenian Highlands carry the legacy of Urartu, influencing civilizations for generations. Craftsmen's techniques preserved in artifacts continue to inspire understanding of ancient skill. Fortresses once bustling with activity now stand silent, yet speak through their enduring stone. Villages reveal daily life and social structures, painting a vivid picture of Urartian society. Artifacts preserved in museums connect the past to the present, showcasing Urartu's material culture. Interior spaces reveal architectural planning, defensive strategies, and the daily rhythms of fortress life. The strategic placement of fortresses underscores Urartu's mastery of terrain and defense. Restoration preserves intricate designs, offering insight into both utility and artistic vision. Even as the sun sets, the landscape carries the echoes of a kingdom long gone. These inscriptions whisper the stories of kings' battles and the enduring spirit of Urartu. Though the kingdom fell, the stones, canals, and inscriptions of Urartu whisper the story of a forgotten power. From humble beginnings, Urartu rose amidst the highlands, shaping a kingdom of strength and ingenuity. Through engineering marvels, canals, and fortresses, the kingdom reached its peak of power and organization. Life, work, and culture thrived, even as political and military pressures foreshadowed decline. Eventually, Urartu fell under external pressures, yet its achievements in governance and technology endured in memory. Though the kingdom vanished, stones, inscriptions, and canals whisper the story of a forgotten power. Subscribe to explore more lost civilizations and uncover the enduring legacies hidden across history.